Good evening, everyone. My name's Mark. I'm a student of Tara Institute, so I think last week I said it was close to 4 years, so it might actually be longer than 4 years. Maybe I'll have to count backwards and work out, because I actually started listening to the previous Geshe at Tara Institute, Geshe Dawa, because he came to Melbourne Uni where I was studying, and he ran some courses there, which were quite illuminating and quite challenging, because he was talking about, well, you've got reincarnation, well, you die and then you're born as something else based on your actions and what ripens. And I had a lot of trouble with that concept. I thought, oh no, that can't be true. It must be impossible. How could I be reborn as a fish, for example? So I thought it was ridiculous. So that was my first experience of Geshe Dawa teaching university-educated students. I thought, he sort of basiced it right down, but it was over my head. So I just thought, nah, it's not for me. But then I challenged myself to look into it a bit further, and I thought, well, maybe cause and result, or cause and effect, yes. And then once you can see there's a sequence, then there's the possibility that reincarnation could be correct. So I actually have, I'm progressing here, but I've actually read of a Buddhist scholar, a Western Buddhist scholar, who has now come full circle and said he doesn't believe in reincarnation of a human into a lower form. So he sort of said, that it's just impossible. So once you die, you're reborn as something similar, another human form, or something better. So it's like an up escalator in all cases. So that's interesting, isn't it? So regardless of what you do, the only direction is up, essentially. So I've looked at what he's written, I thought, no, that doesn't ring true either. So anyway, but leave that aside. That's just an aside. So just from my earliest experience of Buddhism, how ridiculous the ideas felt, and I thought, oh well, no, but I've been thinking about them for a long time. They actually make some sense. So anyway, that's for each of you to discover for yourselves, because that's one of the advantages of Buddhism. It's an open set of teachings in a lot of ways. So it's up to the student to investigate for themselves, not for the person doing the talking to decide. So, and I've had very good teachers who I've mentioned in the past weeks. Now, is anyone brand new here, never been to Monday nights? Yeah, welcome. And welcome to everyone else. And you, yeah, welcome. So I've had very good teachers over the years, including the Dalai Lama, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who's the founder of the centre the centres of which Tara Institute belongs, and also the Venerable Geshe Doga, who's the resident teacher here. So, so that's a plus for each of you, because some of it has seeped in through osmosis. Not much, but if you have a good teacher and you listen and try your best, then hopefully some of it can be of benefit to everyone. So, so I'm going to cover a few different topics, but we'll be going over a little bit of the ground we covered in the first 2 weeks, and just continue on with that, because then we'll round out the month of January. So this is the last Monday night teaching for January, so 3 weeks. That's nice and short, so hopefully it's of benefit. Anyway, so first thing, in Buddhism, motivation is very important. So for the period of the teaching, you should think strongly that you're going to do your best to develop good qualities through listening, thinking about, and meditating. So those three activities you have to do. So it's not so I can talk, but it's up to you to listen if you want to, and think about, and also then meditate. So that's purely an activity for the listener or the student. So if that's the motivation to do your best to develop good qualities, We can set that motivation for our own benefit, our own happiness, so that's valid. Again, to have a wish for our own happiness, or we can do it, and we can do it for all sentient beings, including ourselves, so everyone. So that's a little bit more far-reaching, but in this tradition of Buddhism, that's the ultimate good motivation, is that one. So motivation propels the action to be positive, negative or neutral. So if you have if you establish a good motivation at the beginning, you're well on the way to creating a positive action and a positive result. So in previous weeks, we looked at the concept of the friend and the enemy. And one of the things we spoke about was that those concepts in our lives are very prevalent. We've got people we're close to, and we've got people we sort of keep away because we're not that close to them, or they're not that close to us, or they rub us the wrong way, or vice versa. And but those concepts, even though we have those people, it's not fixed for all time, is it? The friend from childhood, from when we were little, when we were at school, needn't be the friend we have today, our deepest and dearest friend. So it can change, can't it? And then someone who we never got along with, after a while might be our best friend. So our goal is not to be less of a friend to others, but rather to extend the hand of friendship, regardless of how others treat us. So regarding the enemy, our goal is to regard them with compassion. So with compassion, we're talking about a mind that's going, oh, those people, that person is suffering. So you have some sort of empathy, because they're just like us in that way, aren't they? They've got whatever is causing them angst, it's causing them to suffer unbearably, and we can relate to that, can't we? It's not like, oh well, stuff them, that's their fault, or bad luck for them. We can develop that feeling of, trying to understand why the person is, for example, angry at us or angry at others. And I had someone who used to work for me, and she said she never got on with her sister-in-law, and they were Eastern European, so not that there's anything wrong with being Eastern European, but it's pertinent to this example because the two women are quite strong-minded. So the lady that worked for me was very strong-minded, things had to go a certain way, and her sister-in-law was the same. So she'd always be at this person who worked for me, they'd always be at each other. Anyway, I mentioned to her, look, sometimes it's good to put yourself in the other person's shoes, even if it's from a distance. So she did it one Christmas, went away for the holiday, they were around each other, and instead of just reacting negatively to her sister-in-law, she actually tried to understand where those feelings were coming from. And when she looked at it in that way, she actually said that, it's coming from feeling insecure about herself, her place in the world, and where she fitted in, and so that was it. And once she had that feeling towards her sister-in-law, she actually developed some compassion for her. It wasn't just, I'm aggravated being around her, it was actually, I actually feel something for you, something positive, so something good, something warm. So it's important that we can develop that sort of feeling for others, not just our friends, but we can extend that to others. And it's good to do it in the perspective of safe meditation. So you don't have to do it in person, you can actually just think about the person and what they drive up in you, and then how you respond, and then where's that coming from. And you can do that quite safely as well. And if it gets too intense, you can just back off. So that's the beauty of meditation, particularly analytical meditation on the enemy. So that comes to the point of all beings want happiness and don't want suffering, and that's their Buddhist. It's a truism or a truth. It's a Buddhist belief that all beings want happiness and don't want suffering, and conversely, every being will do the best they can to gravitate towards happiness and avoid suffering. So we don't like suffering, and if there's a suffering situation, we'll try and pull away and get away from it. And if there's something that brings us happiness, we'll want to gravitate towards that. It's quite natural, isn't it? Natural response for us. But we can look at others from that same perspective, which is good. So by happiness, we did cover briefly what is the source of happiness. So I'll ask it again for this week. So is the source of happiness external, internal, or both? Did someone say both? Yeah, excellent answer. Yeah, and that's so Buddhism says it's both. You know, you need the external factors. So you need resources, you need good conditions, you need relationships, and internally you need some sort of inner peace or satisfaction. So but Buddhism then goes and says one more step. It says, in the main though, it's the mental attitude of the person that defines whether they're happy or not. So they're sort of carrying two if you like, aspects to happiness, the external and the internal, and saying you need both. But in the main, the mental attitude is the one that prevails. And the Dalai Lama is a good example that, you know, because he's a world figure, he meets all these powerful business people, politicians, people who run countries, you know. So effectively, he's meeting them all the time, and they're at the peak of power, aren't they? They've got what they want. They can do what they want, and he says that for many of them, they have their external, but internally they're suffering, they're unhappy, or they're insecure, or they're not at peace with themselves. So, particularly, say if you're very wealthy, there's a fear develops too. Well, maybe my wealth could be taken away from me. You know, there's that as well, isn't there? So, anyway, there is a good example of a real world example of someone who's at the peak of external power, but if they don't have the inner happiness that goes with it, it becomes well, on balance, that person isn't happy. So, if it's mainly internal, the Buddha also indicated that we are the creator of our own happiness. So that differentiates Buddhism from a lot of the other religions, because a lot of the other religions focus on a creator being, where it creates the conditions or creates the person, and that's the arbiter of happiness. So if the God decides, okay, Mark's born in this life and he'll have this much wealth and happiness and so on, I can't do anything about it because it's not I haven't created that, the God being has done that. So in Buddhism they say, oh no, we don't believe that. We go that Mark is the creator of his own happiness. So that's an interesting idea, isn't it? Because you're going, oh well, if there's no God or no creator being, according to Buddhism, and it's just coming back to the individual, can we create our own happiness? Yes? Okay. Anyone saying no?
I wouldn't say no, but I think the difficulty it runs into is if how you become happy is making other people really unhappy and hurting them.
Yes. Yep, that's true. Yes, if you become happy by hurting other people, well, it's not that good, is it? So that's so true. Yeah, but that lady's Naomi's correct. So it is doable, possible, and other people like us have done it, including the Buddha himself. So that was his life story, was, you know, born into wealth, cosseted from any sort of suffering, poverty, you know, they just shielded him away from all of that. So he was just a kid. There was a prince going to be a king, he was going to rule India, etc. And it was only when he sort of decided, well, actually he saw a poor man, then he saw someone dying, and then he saw people suffering, and he said, well, that's the way the world really is, it's not the way I've been living. So he decided to take himself out of that princely realm and go wandering and try and find the source of happiness. So he did find it eventually, and under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya is a historical story that he realised enlightenment, and after that showed the way for us to do the same. So it's a little bit different from a God creator story. So it's sort of saying another human being achieved that state, and so can we. So if we can achieve that state of happiness, the analogy that's used often is the analogy of the clouds and the sky. So the sky being the mind's ultimate clear, clean nature, or Buddha nature, as it's termed, and the clouds being the afflicted states that are seemingly at one with us, within us, all over us. So afflicted states like, what did we talk about? We talked about anger, didn't we? Anger is one afflicted state. So it's a feeling tinged with some sort of hatred, fast to rise, can be very explosive in its results, negative results for ourselves and others, and then can disappear very quickly as well. What's another afflicted state? Pride. Yeah. Pride, maybe. Yes, pride. So, so like if someone attached a pump to your head and just went, just pump, you feel, the pride makes you feel bigger than you are, doesn't it? You can't get your head through the door because you're so proud of yourself. So, but it brings with itself, it brings also some discomfort to the person feeling that pride. You think, well, look how good I am, you know, but it's not that good, because generally there's also a comparison as well. Look at me, how good I am, and then look at those other people who are not as good as me. So it's not that helpful. So, any other afflicted states that we could say are like clouds obscuring us?
Envy.
Envy. Okay. How would you describe envy?
Seeing someone living a life that you think you should have, or like you deserve, or like being something that you think you should have.
Yes, that's right. So it's envy. So seeing someone who has something that you feel you should have, or you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then it's very close to jealousy as well, isn't it? Where you go, well, all right. They've got that. They're being exalted, raised on a pedestal, lauded by everyone. It should be me. So it's very similar. So you're going, all right. And that one's not that good either, because envy, you might keep to yourself within you, feel it. You might tell all your friends too, but you may keep it to yourself, so it becomes a little inner turmoil. With jealousy, it tends to be very transparent when people are jealous. It's very hard to hide, because your outward expression is, it should be me. And then everyone can see, oh well, Mark's not that happy because Jane has been lauded for her accomplishments, and Mark thinks it should be him that's up there. And that brings its own set of uncomfortable feeling within us. So it definitely does feel like a cloud obscuring the sky. All those afflictions we've mentioned, you go, and then you think, well, it's overwhelming. There's too many of them. And so according to the Buddhist teachings, there's 84,000 afflicted states. So it's a lot. But I think most of them boiled down to the three, if you like, hatred, attachment, and then some sort of ignorance or misunderstanding. So all the other ones come from those three. So it's easy to see a picture of ourselves as having these afflicted states or troublesome states. Is it believable to think that, oh well, no, we actually have this clean, clear nature that's free, that can be free of those afflicted states, even for a moment? Is it possible to do that? Or do you have to wait till you're fully enlightened to then see, oh yeah, I can achieve it? So can you get some glimpse before that? Yes? When?
I guess it might be different for each person depending on where they are on their path of the journey.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't be in it maybe that long. You might just have glimpses along the way.
Yeah, that's true. So, and that's the beauty of exploration in the Buddhist philosophies. You go, all right, well, they're saying those words. Can I get something that resembles or gives me a glimpse that it's possible? So I've used the example last week about looking at the ocean, going in and out. You know, as the waves come in, it recedes and goes out, or continually coming in. So that can bring a deep state of relaxation and peace, and all your worries and that sort of seem to drop away for that moment that the moments you're looking. And so if that's a semblance or a glimpse of what it could be like all the time, because at that moment you're at peace. There is a peace there, which is good. Anyone would like to volunteer another example when you could perhaps get a glimpse of what things could be like?
I believe when you let something go, you feel this moment. When there was very strong conception of something that kind of persuaded all your life, and you were absolutely sure it's true, and it created a lot of pressure and tense inside you.
Yeah.
And when you finally let it go, and you realize, oh, it created so much pressure inside your mind, and now you're kind of free of this conception. It's possible actually just to get rid of it, just to let it go.
Yeah.
And I think in this little gap,
little gap. Yeah.
this sense of,
that's
I can be stable, not to be attached so much to this belief.
Yes, that's an excellent example. So I'll use the Dalai Lama's example of the examination he undertook when he felt anger towards his attendant. So I mentioned it last week, it seemed unbelievable that he would actually have that emotion of anger, so I think he was doing it for our benefit. That attendant did something really silly, so immediately I sort of... And he's quite... because the Dalai Lama is a master of the tradition, he's very knowledgeable on all the protocols. You know, this has to be done that way and that way. If you're a monk, you have to do this and this. So if he sees his attendant doing something out of place, he's got a very sharp mind and a sharp tone, I think, with his attendants. So I can see how he could manifest, at that moment I felt this anger come up within me. But he actually, to use your example, he actually didn't focus on the attendant. He focused on the feeling of anger within him. And there's a number of ways to do that in analysis. But he just sort of looked at it and says, okay, the anger is very solid and firm, and it's not, it's overwhelming. And then he looked into it and said, this, is it that? is it something else? And the more he looked at the anger, the feeling, etc., eventually it disappeared. He couldn't find it. He couldn't locate its point. You know, where is it originating from? So that was quite illuminating, because he goes, well, you know, you can do it with that, and that affliction has gone, even if it's only temporary. Then it is possible. And that's an excellent example. So they're all pre-enlightenment types of examples of that ultimate clean, clear, pure nature. So one of the best methods, another method to develop and observe the clean, clear nature is using our own mind in meditation. So that gives us another opportunity to have a look inside ourselves and go, well, is it all just clouds just obscuring me? Or is there a glimpse sometimes of that clean, clear nature, peaceful nature? And Geshe Doga mentions that the peaceful mind is the happy mind, is a happy mind. So if you have a peaceful mind, you have a happy mind. So through breathing meditation, you go, well, can I get some semblance of that peaceful, happy nature? So let's do a little bit of meditation. So just make yourself comfortable. So whether you're in a chair or on a cushion, doesn't matter. So the main thing is to try and keep your back straight. So you keep your mouth closed, and the breathing will be through your nostrils or your nose. So the focus of our meditation is going to be on the breath. So in our tradition, the left hand is on the bottom and the right hand is on top, and you join your thumbs and then point the thumbs back towards the navel, and you just rest your hands just on your lap. So if you bring them together and then join them there, and one of Geshe Doga's teachings, he said, very good for this position, very, very good for the winds and within our body. So it just centres them and helps with the free flow as we're doing the meditation. So our eyes are not completely closed and not completely open, but you want to just let an impression of light in. So we'll just begin the meditation. So breathing through the nostrils, and visualise that as you're breathing out, all your anxieties, worries, concerns of the day are being removed. And as you're breathing in, let beautiful, enlightened energy come into you. So just repeat that in and out. So then switch the focus, you're breathing gently, your breath as it just gently goes through the nostrils, and try and keep your attention there on that sensation. And we'll do that for a few minutes. And if your concentration wavers and you start thinking about other things, just gently but slowly bring the attention back to the breathing. So just bring your attention back to the room and open your eyes. So with the breathing meditation, it's not a Buddhist tradition. So believe it or not, so it's not a Buddhist only meditation. So you don't need to be Buddhist to do it. But we do, in the tradition we have, it is a focus for us because it develops, one of the things that breathing meditation does, as well as giving you a glimpse of your own pure, clean nature, it also develops concentration within us because you're focusing on a single object of choice, in this case the breath as it goes in and out, and if you're able to just observe it and keep the mind on it, then you do develop concentration. Is that a good thing to have, concentration? Yes or no? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Generally it's good, isn't it? Even out of meditation, if you can concentrate on the object you want or the activity you want to do, it's good, isn't it? It's not like, oh well, yeah, I should be doing my work, but oh gee, doesn't it look great outside? So then your attention's gone, isn't it? Because your work's there, but you want to be outside. So if you have some semblance of concentration or develop concentration, you're able to focus on whatever task you need to do. So which is very good. One of the other outcomes of breathing meditation is that the mind becomes clearer. Is that true? Or does it become so relaxed that you fall asleep? Yes? Could that happen? Yes, you could. You could just fall into some sort of dull stupor where you just in and out, and then suddenly there's a little bit of a snore. And it's you. So it's sort of like, it relaxes you, and then you can go, well, I haven't got much focus, so I'll fall asleep. So, but generally, the way we do it, because we're focusing on the breath, then we're focused, and the mind becomes a little bit clearer and not dull. And that's one of the reasons we don't shut our eyes completely, because that promotes us falling asleep. So we let the impression of light come in as we're doing the meditation, so that it sort of keeps us a little bit vibrant. We become more relaxed but alert, so it does relax you when you do that meditation, which is good. And the other thing is, if you're able to focus on your chosen object, you're able to investigate that object of meditation more deeply. So even the breath. So you think, oh well, it's just the breath in and out, it's an image, mental image of the breath going in and out. How complicated is that? It couldn't be much more to it. But the Geshe Dogen talks about some of his students, and he's not talking about anyone in this room, he's talking about some of his other students who can meditate for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, complete clarity and focus, no distraction, so they're able to do it. So he's saying they're able to focus on their object with clarity and focus, and then that gives them the opportunity to focus more deeply on that object. So, does anyone need a clarification on what that could mean, particularly for breathing meditation, which seems so very straightforward? Okay, so I'll give you an example. So if you're doing the breathing meditation and going in and out, and that's all it is. There are some who can meditate to such a point that it's effortless, and there doesn't seem to be a meditator or a meditation going on. It's just happening. It's very natural. So that's a very deep, relaxed state. So, and free of any sort of hindrance or distraction. So it's very good. And one of the things you may observe But as your mind becomes more quiet through your meditation, that there's more peace and space within your mind. So you may feel a sense of satisfaction as you've doing the meditation or completed it. So His Holiness talks about that satisfaction, having some sense of satisfaction is happiness. So you feel satisfaction about yourself, what you've done or what you're doing. So that's a good thing to have instead of feeling, oh, well, I'm terrible, I can't, so useless, I can't do this, I can't do that. So that's developing a very positive approach to our own selves. And then in time, it might not happen the first time you meditate, and it might not happen the second time, but then you might get a glimpse, which is what we were talking about, of the mind's nature is clean, clear and pure. So that's, you can do that with breathing meditation, just to get a glimpse of your own, what the Buddha called Buddha nature, so within yourself. So the last 2 weeks we examined the idea of the friend. So it's someone we have closeness or affection towards. We talked about that friend needn't be the friend you had from birth or school or childhood or adulthood even. It can be quite a changeable concept in that the person who is your friend or friends can change through your life. And then we also talked about the idea of the enemy. So the enemy, there's either we don't get on well with them or they don't get on well with us. So there's that sort of antagonism between you. You don't like to be around each other. So, or when you are around them, if things you don't feel that good, you don't care how they feel. So there's that. So we have a certain number of friends. Maybe we can count them on several hands, or one hand, or one hand, or two hands, or 10 sets of hands through our life. And then what about the enemies? The same number of enemies as friends throughout our life? No? More friends than enemies? You're lucky, because because it's true. Some people are born in places where everyone else is a so-called enemy. So it's not always the case that it is. I mean, probably in Australia, yes.
It's too nice.
Too nice, East Brighton, yes. Yeah, that's true. Look, so we're fortunate. We have, throughout our life, more friends than enemies. And that could be also because when there is the enemy, we tend to dissociate from them a little bit, don't we? We gravitate towards our friends. So we're not cultivating more enemies if we can help it. So, okay, so this week we're going to examine the stranger. So, do we have more friends, enemies, or strangers to us? Strangers. Of course, you're saying, well, so there are more people we don't know and don't really care about than there are people we do care about and people we loathe or dislike. So they're all true statements, that there's more strangers around us in our orbit or even outside our orbit than we have friends or enemies. Yes?
Yes, that's strange saying, isn't it? A stranger is just a friend you haven't met. I'm not sure that's accurate.
Could be. But anyway, look, so...
But you communicate with so many people every day, and you don't have strong connections with them. So of course there are more strangers than enemies.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. So I'm agreeing with what everyone's saying, because I when I've looked, I've gone, well, yeah, there are more friends than enemies, but definitely more strangers to us than the combined friends and enemies together. So way more. So
there's a sociologist who had, I think it's Durham or something, has a theory about how many close friends you can have, how many acquaintances, and then there's an outer circle, and there's a limit. It's 150, he says.
150 friends?
150 people you can be aware of and have some interaction with maybe.
Like there is capacity in your brain
to have that many relationships,
to remember.
Okay, so if there are more strangers in our lives than friends or enemies, then what feelings do we have towards them, the strangers? So we have affection towards our friends, and we sort of have a bit of a dislike or aversion to the enemy. But what about the stranger? Indifference, excellent. Yeah, indifference. That's the perfect term for it. That's an indifference. It's a take it or leave it feeling. If I see them, yeah. If I don't see them, yeah.
You can be curious.
You can be curious. Yes.
Maybe one expression would be equanimity.
No.
Equanimity, that they're not a friend and they're not an acquaintance or anything, but you don't have any sort of adverse feelings, let's say.
Yes. So generally in the Buddhist terminology, that equanimity is a feeling of equality tinged with some affection. So towards the stranger, you could have an equal feeling towards them, and it's either indifference or it could be disdain. I have no good feeling towards that one, and that one, all equally. So it's just like, yeah, take it or leave it. Doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything. So that's if you like, the feeling towards the stranger. It does present an opportunity though to have a more positive feeling towards them, and that's what we're moving towards. But so one thing about the stranger, it's very easy, extremely easy, to develop preconceptions about others based on stereotypes. So I don't know them, but I'm sure because they look like this and they go do that and do this, that they must be like that. So it's just a preconception in our own head about the stranger, and go, oh, based on the stereotype, they're going to be like that, so I just don't have any feeling towards them at all. Anyway, let's do some meditation on the idea of the stranger. So, and we'll do this is analytical meditation. So again, initially in Buddhism, these analytical meditations are guided, and if it gets too intense, you can just back off and go back to the breath, the breathing meditation. So adopt the meditation posture, and we'll do some breathing meditation to commence. So just focus on the breath as it goes in and out through the nostrils. So bring to mind in front of yourself the object of meditation being a stranger, or the stranger, our stranger. So it can be a current stranger or a stranger from the past. So first thing we'll examine is, have they always been a stranger? Does this stranger have any good or bad qualities? How does the stranger make us feel? Does the stranger ever do good or harm towards us? Have we ever done good or harm towards the stranger? Just open your eyes and bring your attention back to the room. So, what insights can we have about the stranger? Anything? I'll lead off with one because I've got one from my past. So, it's a Spanish anecdote. So this one will be interesting. So, I thought as a people, the Spanish were a bit devious, sharp, and on the prowl. So, just a stereotype. So again, you go. So, by the way, my name's Fernandez. So I'm Portuguese, Indian, and not Spanish. So, but anyway, but that was my preconception. So I thought, and so I was thinking, oh man, if we get to Madrid or we get to Barcelona, I'll be grabbing my wallet and really make sure no one is looking. So being very careful.
Like
and
the whole Spain.
the whole of Spain.
The whole Spain.
That's right. The rain in Spain. So it's like, I was looking forward to visiting and having a terrible experience of being really insecure and worried the whole time. So what did I encounter? So I was a tourist, so we were there about 3 weeks. So we visited Seville and Madrid, Valencia, Barcelona, Granada. So Cordoba, we saw a lot, we went to a lot of places. So, so I was a tourist. So the Spanish people I mainly encountered were in the service industry. So what does the service industry mean? Who's serving who? So they're serving me, aren't they? Okay. So they were all very helpful and warm. All of them, like I was going, just... They were serving me, yeah, because they're in the service industry. They were a waiter or a person at the hotel or a tour guide or someone selling tickets for a train or whatever. So they were all very helpful. And they were the same as me in that they were wanting happiness and they wanted to avoid suffering. So exactly the same. So the stereotype of them being sharp and maybe deceitful, whatever, completely untrue, blown out of the water, because I was going, well, my experience was not that. Mind you, I was careful in Madrid, I think it was Madrid, the little, in the piazza, there's this, it's like a town square, they put the tables out and people sit down and order a coffee and this and that. Again, one of the people who used to work for me, she went there on a, what would it have been, Kontiki? 12 countries in 5 days, something like that. Anyway, went to Spain, put the bags down, ordered the coffee, were watching someone playing the guitar, whatever, and as they were watching, someone walked by and swooped the bags up and whoosh, gone. So it can happen. It's not an impossibility. There's nothing to do with being Spanish. It's just that's what happens in tourist places. You just have to be a little bit more, have more wherewithal. Anyway, could be here too. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is though, my stereotype did not, wasn't real. It was completely in my mind that that's the way Spanish people were. But when I got up a little bit closer, they had the same. They were the same as me, exactly the same. So they wanted happiness, they wanted to avoid suffering. And because they were in the service industry, and they were relying on, good reviews, tips, good feedback to their bosses, it was a perfect experience as a traveller, a tourist. So I thought, wow, so that's good. So where are we going with all this? Because we've said, okay, we want so in Buddhism we're saying we don't want to turn all our friends into strangers. We don't want everyone to be meaningless to us. So that then we're equal, aren't we? Then we have an equality of feeling towards everyone that I don't care about anyone. So it's an equal feeling. That's not what we're after. We're trying to generate the feeling of friendship, so that affection and closeness that we have for our friends, we're trying to extend that to our enemies and extend that to strangers. A question, so is it easier to treat a stranger with some kindness and affection or an enemy? Stranger. Why is that? Probably, that's right. So the chance of something closer developing is a little bit more removed, and there's no emotional baggage. As for the enemy, there's something attached to it. You go, I can't be around them too much. I don't want to show them too much good feeling. So, but the point is, if you can extend that reach of friendship to others, including a stranger, you will reach a wider audience with your friendship. A much wider audience, because as we said, the number of strangers that we have is Johnny was sorry. Did you have a question? Or just?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, didn't Aristotle say a friend to all is a friend to none?
A friend to all is a friend to none. I'm not sure if he said that.
Yeah,
he did. A friend to all is a friend to none.
Yeah, like you need to know who you are and what you like in order to find your tribe, I guess. Because if you're friendly with everyone, then I guess it shows that you don't have discernment or something. I don't know. Yeah, loyalty. I don't know.
A loyalty, yeah. So look, Aristotle was Aristotle, so I'm not going to down him. But the idea we're talking about in Buddhism is going, well, we can have that sense of affection for our friends, so that's plus, and we can deepen those feelings to our friends, and we can also widen our audience by having those feelings towards a stranger. And we can also extend those feelings in time to our enemies. That's much harder, but if you're looking at the full gamut of people that we encounter, then you're trying to have an equal feeling, equanimity, an equal sense of affection for the friend, the enemy, and the stranger.
Sorry, I was just wondering if I could share a story.
Sure.
Is that annoying to everyone else?
No.
It's after last week's meditation. People aren't here, like we earned head on the enemy. And I don't have that many enemies now, but I was thinking about this one person. Sorry, I'm swear to God there is a like motto behind this, but think about this one person. I was friends with him, and then we had a huge falling out, and we had such an explosive relationship. We couldn't go to any parties that were similar, and he came to my mind last week. And I never thought about this person, and like I hadn't talked to him for like 5 years, but I just thought about him again last week. And one of my friends invited me out the night after, and she's like, hey, I want you to meet some of my friends, and he was there, and I pretended not to know him. And this is someone that if I had met him, if I was in this situation maybe not 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we would have just screamed at each other, and it would have been awful, we recommend we got an intervention or against each other. It was a bad situation to be in. So I pretended not to know him, and then my friend was like, okay, this is Victoria's name Victoria, and then I pretended not to know him. I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And then after, at the end of the night, he goes he comes up to me and he says, hey, I'm really sorry for everything, and he actually moved back from Bali. He's lived in Bali. He came back, and I was like, this is so strange. I had not thought about this man in years, and I thought about him in meditation. The next day he just appeared out of nowhere, and someone that would have probably screamed at me, got him kicked out from years ago. Then I thought about him, and he just appeared. And I don't know what that means. Does that mean anything? And in meditation, mind you, I was thinking about him. I was and it came over me we were both going through such a hard time. I actually don't hold any sort of anger towards him anymore, and he appeared the next day.
Yeah, well, it's a great anecdote, a great story, because so there's if you like, there's a few things at play. So there's your own mind bringing that person up, and then creating the cause and conditions to actually meet a few days later, and then
the next day.
The next day.
24 hours.
Yeah, okay.
7 p.m. the next day.
Yeah, and then not having an antagonistic discussion, but actually having a discussion, and then him coming. So that's good. I mean, those are all.
I don't know what that means, because he had literally just moved. He moved away, moved overseas, but he came back.
Yeah.
Did he just come back?
And he said sorry, and this is someone that I probably did an intervention or against a couple of years ago. It was bad. So does that mean? Can people tell me if that means anything? Or
Well, it just look at all. It means that relationships can be very fluid. So the friend we had from childhood needn't be the friend we have today. The enemy we had yesterday could be our best friend tomorrow, and then the stranger who we completely ignore might end up being our best friend. So it's not. So it's we're not saying not to be so attached to the labels, but to realise that things change, but our internal feeling of affection towards others, we can extend that. So that's the main point. It doesn't. So and it's good that you mentioned, the change of feelings that you had, because if you were talking about intervention orders in the past, and you go now, well, it's not the case. So something's shifted. So that's good.
And the thing really shifted last week in meditation.
Yeah.
Because I had such feelings of anger, oh, you made my life awful for so long. And I realised, we were both going through horrible things.
Yeah.
Don't hold any resentment, and then after I had that realisation, it appeared the next day. Is that not crazy?
Yeah. Well, it's not crazy, but it's great.
Crazy.
Well, it's 9 o'clock, so we're talking about extending our friendship to others, and we can even do that to enemies. So it's more complex and tricky and emotional, but it can be done. And we can do that in several ways, and we've looked at those through the last few weeks. So effectively, one, the universality of all beings wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. So that includes our enemies and the strangers and our friends. Same. So we're the same as them in that respect. And then tackling each day with a good motivation to benefit ourselves and others. So if you start with a good motivation, and that's something, maybe people don't have a good motivation when they start the day. The motivation is whatever takes them. So if they wake up upset and grizzled, then most of the morning is taken up with that feeling. But if they start with a good motivation, then that sets the tone for the day. So that's very important. And as a baseline, as a Buddhist, doing no harm to others. So if you can't benefit someone, at least try not to harm them. So in our capacity at the time, I can't really do much to help that person, but I won't do anything that will antagonise them, upset them. So that's good. So that's a positive, because sometimes the person we don't harm, they're so shocked that someone didn't harm them. They're surprised, because generally people harm them, but you didn't. So that's really good. So practicing meditation. So we've covered a few of those, and then being able to. So this is more in the realm of the practice of patience, which you should study, because this is very good. Because this is tied in with that idea of equanimity towards others. So having some patience. So in this respect, patience is really some sort of ability to handle small sufferings or slights. She said something that wasn't nice, say la vie, or okay, fine, and move on, not get so wrapped up in it. That lady's example, examining something like an afflicted emotion and seeing that it's not concrete and permanent, that's something good too. Because then again, at the time you're able to go, oh, well, it feels really hard and solid, but when I look, it dissipates, goes. So that's good. And then a sure sign of your development is having an equal feeling of affection or warmth for those you encounter. So that's not thinking about who you're going to encounter, but whoever you encounter, you have a warm feeling of affection towards them. Yep.
Who does that benefit?
If you're having an equal feeling or warmth towards those you encounter. So sometimes the person who you're being warm to benefits them immensely, because maybe they're surprised that you're acting as though they're a human being deserving of respect and affection, and courtesy, but it benefits you. Generally, they say that it benefits the person practicing more than the receiver, because you develop internally. And this is the idea that, well, I can only have 150 friends. If you use the Buddhist idea, you go, well, I could have many, many more, because I could just expand out. Because I'm not doing much different other than whoever I encounter, I'm treating them with warmth and some sort of affection. So will we encounter many, many people in our lives? Or is it a small number? We generally say, we talk about a stranger, because it's quite a huge number, isn't it, throughout our lifetime. A lot of people say, well, there's plenty of opportunity then. So that's very good. So I think we'll finish up, because we've gone past 9. But thank you, everyone. This is the last of the January teaching. So next week there'll be a break because of Australia Day, and then February teachings will start. So I hope this is of some benefit to everyone. So let's dedicate. So we also dedicate any good feeling or merit that we've created for our own benefit and also the benefit of all others. Okay, thank you everyone. I think there's tea and biscuits or cake in the coffee corner, so please enjoy it. Thank you.